You also never know when somebody's colorblind.
Oh yeah, you also never know when someone's colorblind, and they're never gonna be able to tell.
Go to the gray one.
Go to the gray one.
They're all fucking gray.
Welcome. We're going to talk about spray walls. In particular, this spray wall that we have recently just put together. This will be maybe the 5th or 6th iteration of like what we've been calling the Beast. This is technically a different wall, but this is the new Beast. Anyway, it's been a long road with spray walls in general. I mean, I've been setting spray walls in one form or another since probably the early 2000s, because I was doing it at like my barn home wall when I was a kid, and then eventually the adjustable boards at Earth Treks, and then eventually here. It's really become one of my favorite things to do. Actually, one of the things I hate the most because of the time involvement. What you're looking at here is like 4 days of work, and we're probably already into like 30 hours and it's empty. It's not even close. So it's a huge time commitment, but it's really fun. One of the cool things about spray walls is they have all these different flavors depending on who sets them, the holds, the wall angles, all of it. It's why we do our spray wall series, to kind of highlight all the cool things that make all the different spray walls unique. I'm going to talk about my process on this wall in particular. It's not the way, it's a way. And it also is just, I'm doing it differently this time than I did the last 4 times I did the Beast, and differently than I did the TB2, and differently than I'll do the 16x12 expansion of the TB2. So yeah, let's take a look. Some stats on the board. It is a 45 to a 35. The height off the pads is, I think it's about 14.5 feet or something like that. I don't like a too tall wall. I don't like hitting the ground like that. And you're gonna get plenty of moves out of a wall like this. So first thing for a spray wall really helps having a shit ton of holds. I've been collecting since I started climbing. This Franklin hold is from a set that I got when I was a kid. My parents got me this for my birthday or something. A lot of these holds are really old, and that is kind of one of the hallmarks, I think, of like a good spray wall, is a lot of good old holds, and they are really hard to come by. And this has taken decades to come up with this collection, and there's plenty of new holds in there too, but yeah, having a lot of holds to start with really helps, and there's kind of no shortcut to that, but so it is. The way that I've started out with this wall, I think one of the first things that I think a lot of folks would agree on is kind of spacing out your biggest holds first. You know, once you start filling things in more densely, it's really tough to go back and move things around. So, you know, you can see what we've done here is taken the bigger holds on the wall, spaced them out somewhat regularly, and I'm really paying attention to where the big holds are going in relation to one another, their directionality, and also sort of thinking ahead to the holds that I know I have that I'm going to be filling in with, and how I want folks to move around into different parts of the wall. The other thing with the big holds that I'm kind of experimenting with here, and something that I feel like I've learned about spray walls in general, and Ben Burkhalter, to his credit, was one of the people who like finally got me to really change my tune on this, and that's that downpulls are your friend. If you think you've got too many downpulls on your spray wall, you're probably wrong. They really are kind of the glue that holds the board together. And what I've also found is it really accentuates the holds that aren't downpulling. And so What I've got with these larger holds, a lot of them are still down pulling, but I'm kind of strategically placing the non-down pulling ones in places where I know that they're gonna have the most dramatic effect that sort of serves that particular hold. Another thing that we found that we really like is having some lines that we do actually set during the setting of the spray wall that serve as benchmarks. And we kind of have three main ones that have stuck around over the years, and they're really just basic crimp boulders. And they're also all on wood holds. We have kind of a easy, a medium, and a hard. The movement is not that crazy. It's actually pretty simple. And all the holds are also the same. And so they kind of serve as nice little finger strength benchmarks. And as you kind of repeat them over and over, you can kind of tell if you're having a good day or having a bad day, or if your fingers have kind of leveled up. The three that we have here, the easiest one starts on this down pulling wood rail and climbs all of these modified TB1 holds. Again, the movement is simple. You can kind of pinch all of these. They all have, I think these are about a 40-degree in cut, and they end up being about a half to a 3/4 pad when you're actually climbing on them. Then the level up from that is actually our small rung stock cut at a 45-degree angle. And this, when you roll up on these, like, you kind of end up with like half a pad or less. And then the hardest one are these, where when you roll up on these, you're getting like a 1/4 pad. So it's like a nice progression of boulder problems that can kind of serve as a nice check-in on how you're feeling on a given day, or kind of a cool way to see a level up in your finger strength actually on the wall and not like on a hangboard or something. The kick panel is really small. I think we all just have decided we don't like big kickers or even kickers at all sometimes. But for this one, I just wanted to make it look nice. So I actually, just this kicker probably took me 4 hours. You know, whether you do something like this or not, I think the key point is feet are super important on a spray wall. Having a lot of bad footholds makes a huge difference and can really help develop the character of a wall. So after getting kind of the main skeleton of a spray wall up by kind of dispersing the bigger holds and making sure they're going to interact with one another in the way that you want, then I really just start going in and backfilling. But I sort of work my way, or at least this time what I'm doing is I'm working my way out from the big holds and kind of expanding and trying to make sure that I have a nice diversity of grip types and orientations. Easy, medium, hard, the whole deal. Another thing that I'm doing is I'm making sure that the holds that I'm putting close together, I'm doing it in such a way that I'm not like running my knuckles into things when I'm like full crimping. So the space that you see is really intentional based on the hold type, what's around it, and all of that as well. Not all of the holds have names right now, but they all probably will. The main reason I like having names on the holds is because it makes the spray wall a lot more approachable for folks who aren't climbing on it all the time. Inevitably, when you're climbing on a spray wall or anything in particular, even rocks, like holds typically develop names. When you have a wall that's this dense, you know, when you say go to the pink one, you're like, which pink one? There's like 40 pink ones. So just giving things names allows you to talk about the boulder problems, the holds, the sequences more easily without having to have everybody super in the know about all the lingo that has developed over a period of time. Ruth actually asked me a question the other day. She was like, what have you learned over the years with spray walls that doesn't work? And I don't like to admit it, but I think the thing that I've realized doesn't really work very well, volumes. They can work, and I think in the last iteration of the Beast was probably my most successful attempt at integrating volumes into a spray wall. But even that, I think it's arguable how successful that actually was. And On this iteration, we're not gonna be doing volumes. What I did do, because I had the opportunity to design this wall, is I did add these blunt arêtes to allow for some dimension. And hold stacks also allow for some dimension as well without having kind of the negative impact of actually putting a volume on the wall. The start and finish areas, also really important. It's all important, but I still will also start with kind of bigger holds and get those into place. But I'll also go around and start thinking about all the different kind of split start variations that I want, a good representation of hold types, and then also understanding, like, as I'm setting up a lot of those start positions, how those sort of feed into where I've placed a lot of the bigger holds and where the climber's actually gonna wanna go. A lot of what I rely on actually is, like, you know, if you've ever sat on a spray wall, you know, you see a hold, you think it's cool, you grab it, you look up and you kind of have this impulse about where you want to go. And that happens to me as I'm putting the holds on the wall. And so when I have that impulse and I kind of look up and I'm like, oh, it would be sick to do this, I just put the hold there. And it more often than not, it works out. Spray walls themselves are a huge time investment and an ongoing project, and even after I finish this, it will be tweaking it forever probably. Ideally the tweaks get smaller and smaller and whatnot, and one of the main things I do is, like, when you realize after 6 months or a year or something that a particular hold or section of the wall, there's like no chalk on it. You're like, wow, like, clearly people are not being enticed to go here. Like, what can I do to kind of spice this up or put a cooler hold or something like that? So ultimately you want the whole board to get a lot of play and not have kind of specific areas you keep returning to over and over again at the expense of other areas. At the end of the day, what I'm really trying to do is provide a blank canvas for the climber to come back around and be creative on. And if I try and input too much of, like, what I want on the way that it's laid out, that's the kind of thing that can sort of pigeonhole a spray wall into really feeling one way and not being able to kind of house a lot of different people's visions and styles. I used to think about spray walls a lot in grids. I'd break the wall into a grid and think about how one grid kind of crossed into another. And over the years, I've thought less about the grid and more about, like, circles, you know, like a human. You think like Vitruvian Man, sort of. Anywhere you could feasibly start or finish a move, making sure that, like, I'm placing holds within that kind of arc of where someone can theoretically reach or step. A common thing that I've done in the past is you're like, oh, hard move equals big move, and hard move also equals small hold. So I'm gonna make all the small holds far apart. Then what you get is a bunch of really, really hard situations that are too hard and a bunch of situations that are too easy. And so a general rule of thumb that I use, and I break this rule all the time, so don't take it too seriously, but the better holds are the ones that end up a little further apart, and the smaller holds actually end up a little bit closer. And when I end up in a rut, that's something I'll kind of fall back on to help me place holds if I'm really having a hard time. So this is where we're at now. As you can tell, I have a ton of work left to do, and we'll see where it ends up. We'll check back in. It's a work in progress, but I'm just gonna keep putting holes on the wall.
One eternity later.
All right, so pretty much finished it. I've filled in a lot of the small holds and the jibs around the bigger holds. You'll notice there's still some gaps. You kind of can't one and done a spray wall. Like, you're always kind of tweaking, swapping things in and out, adjusting hold angles and everything, and it'll continue to evolve over the years, but this is pretty much it. As I mentioned, I've been collecting these for like a really long time, since I was a teenager, basically. It can be tough to come by these old holds these days, but a friend of mine has a company called Dead Stock Climbing. We'll throw a link somewhere for y'all to check that out, but that is a place where he has curated a huge selection of old holds specifically for people looking to put together sweet spray walls. So if you're in the market for some old holds, go check them out. We've been climbing on it for a couple of months now. So far so good. In general, I would say it climbs really well. There are a few areas where I definitely misjudged a few distances or how good some of the holds were in relation to other holds, because that's the other difference between this beast and the old one. We don't have the 55 panel anymore. It's just straight 45 into 35. And so not having that little steep section at the bottom really does affect kind of where the holds go and the way the wall climbs. And so I didn't totally nail it first try on the lower section, and also kind of the arete angles. The arete angles have really thrown me off. I did not expect them to be as difficult to set as they ended up being, but I almost completely revised the right and left side wings, because I just realized I totally misunderstood the way that those angles would work. One of the things I pay attention to, especially with kind of a freshly set spray wall, when I'm climbing or like making up boulder problems, I know that I've done a good job if I kind of like grab a hold and have this instinct of like, oh, it'd be sick to like go here and do this, and I look up and the hold that I want is just there and everything kind of sets itself. There have been a lot of moments of that on this board, but there have also been a lot of moments where I've like looked up and been like, damn, that hold's in the wrong spot, and have either swapped it out, changed the location, turned the angle. And that's really going to be the next step for this wall, is to continue to iterate in that way, watch people climb on it, see what they gravitate towards, see which holds don't get any chalk at all and are basically unused, try moving them into different areas. Yeah, the long game begins now.